I wanted to start with a really fun story. So I thought hard and couldn't think of one because I realized that thus far in this year has been tremendously dull for me. The most interesting thing I've done in the last week has been to scream in the faces of children and drag them screaming away. Of course, that was on stage, so, not quite bucket list material. That's not to say I'll try again for real, probably. That said, welcome to Reading Between the Lyons. I know I've griped about this before, but the weather here in Missouri, well, it's not ideal. We've got days that are cold. We've got days that are so cold the snot freezes in your nostrils and you have to thaw it out before you can blow it again. And then the next day, it's not too bad. I could wear short sleeves, and then the day after, it's deathly cold and I want to end it all. But on a positive note, that means that the extensive wardrobe that I am in possession of is in constant rotation. It sucks not to be able to pick out an outfit earlier than the day of, but at least I've got options. Speaking of clothes, I thought I might talk about those for a little bit this episode. I like wearing clothes. It's preferable to not wearing them in most cases. In fact, I tend to do so in nearly all cases. And when I do, it generally looks like this. It's not the same outfit, that would be really boring, but I do really like to dress up every day. I go to rehearsal. Some days that's the only thing I do. I go into rehearsal, I wear my suit to rehearsal, change into my rehearsal clothing, rehearse, change out of my rehearsal clothing, and then change back into my suit and go home from rehearsal. See how many times I can say rehearse in a sentence challenge accepted. Now the question you, among others, may be asking is why? Why? And no, it's not because I like to feel snooty and better than everyone else. That's not it at all. The reason is it makes me feel happy. It makes me feel a little bit more excited about living, just to be able to pick out an outfit that puts a little more pep in my step. If I'm dressing for the job I want, then I'll be a circus clown by the time I'm 27. But it really excites me sometimes to pick out an outfit that coordinates colorfully, and I can sometimes put a little pin on it. Let's put a little pin on that. That's what I say in the mirror to myself when I pick out my outfits in the morning. Somebody once asked if I, looked around at everyone who wore sweatpants and regular people, normal people, sane people clothing, that's the word I was looking for, sane people clothing to rehearsals and events and things like that, and sort of looked down on them because of it. And I looked at him like, are you an idiot? Just because I'm crazy doesn't mean I have to expect everyone else to be equally insane, right? No, I dress this way because it's the easiest thing. I look around and I see what other people are wearing and they dress that way because it's the easiest thing. I would hate myself if I dressed differently. I don't care. I don't care what other people dress like. If I think it looks really good, I'll compliment it, of course. But if the easiest thing for you to wear and feel comfortable and cool in is sweatpants and a tank top, you rock that sweatpants and a tank top. Absolutely. I'll be wearing a suit, and we can jam that way. We can hang out, we can chill, and hang out that way. Clothes are ridiculously expensive. Just to segue right into this bit here, just to segue right into that, depressingly so, clothes cost far too much money, which is why I am an avid representing person of thrift stores. I don't actually represent any thrift stores. This is not a commercial nor an advertisement for thrift stores, but I do love them. I should say I'm a patron. I'm a frequenter of thrift stores. I think everything I'm wearing right now came from a thrift store. Except, no, I don't think my underwear are. No, I would never. No, I would never wear underwear from a thrift store. Besides that, the outer garments are from a thrift store. I've worn these clothes for a lot of different occasions. This jacket I wore to perform a piano playing at a restaurant once. That was fun. think I used these pants in like a Mad Hatter costume. Probably. Yeah, that makes sense. I've actually proposed in this shirt. Yeah. Lots of different stuff. And now, even though nobody asked, I need to discuss bow ties. I have to discuss them. For many years, and by many I mean 5, I've worn bow ties quite regularly. For my first couple years of college, as well as a little bit before I went to college, I would wear bow ties almost every day. I own 87 of them. 87? I think that's the number. After I got to college, my bow tie wearing journey hit a couple of bumps. One of my professors despised bow ties and was vocal about it. I would be in class with her, and she would, in front of the whole class, just discuss how much she disliked bow ties and how bad she thinks they look on people, kind of looking at me occasionally throughout. And I was like, well, okay then. And so for about a year there, I would take off my bow ties before going into her classroom and then put them back on afterward. I don't know why. I think it just after so many mentions, it just got to me. And I was like, if she doesn't want to see them, I won't make her see them. But I got over that eventually. We got along better after that, and I think it was fine. Oh, later, a couple years later, she showed us a picture of her cousin who wears bow ties very poorly. So none of us are surprised anymore that she dislikes bow ties because he does not rock them. He doesn't even try to match them. So I have a little bit of empathy for her feelings there. Then after that, after I'd recovered from that incident, events occurred, and I was sad, depressed really for the first time ever. And I would go in the morning and try to put on my bow tie, and I couldn't do it. It's the silliest thing really, but I couldn't wear it. I was like, no, it doesn't fit, it doesn't work. And that went on for about 8 or so months till finally the repercussions of those events kind of reset a little bit. I kind of moved past and wore a bow tie again for a solid several months. And then wouldn't you know it, events. Just love events, just love it. But yeah, long story short, still not quite able to wear them. I would love to. Sometimes they're great. And some days, very rare days, I'm still able to. But just in general, it's not something I'm ready to do quite yet. Stay tuned. One day, sooner or later, I may again regale you with bow ties adorning my neck. Or maybe not. Maybe my style has actually advanced past that, but I'm not sure. We'll have to... Only time will tell. Only time will tell. I don't think I was singing a song there. I think I just started making noise as if it was a previously written song. Maybe I should write one. No, I've got enough songs I'm writing about. I'm almost done with my 6-song album, actually. I'm very pleased with how it's turning out. I think I'm going to start with releasing a single. I'm also writing this other song. It's about artistry and the beauty of creation, and honestly, the necessity of creation. And I think I'm going to start with releasing that and then move forward. Hopefully it builds some hype for my album release, which is a more serious exploration of certain emotional concepts. Whew, that doesn't sound exciting. They're good. I'm very critical of myself, but I think they're pretty good. But I suppose you all will be the judge of that at some time in the undetermined future when they become available to the public. Hopefully I'll have a sneak peek for you at some point. And now the time has come for our first question and answer. I say question and answer because there's only one question. No, wait. And now the time has come for our first question and answers. I say question and answers because there was only one question and I'm going to give it multiple answers. I'm gonna really eat up the time here. I woke up one morning, a morning like any other morning. Nothing else going on in my day, except for the million things that I'd planned for myself. And I looked at my phone and there was a notification I'd never seen before. Someone had sent an email to the excruciatingly long email titled Reading Between the Lyons podcast at gmail.com. And it was a question. And this question came from someone named Lily. And Lily asked, "What's your favourite TV show and why?" I doubt Lily's British, but I decided she was for this rendition. I have no reason to believe she's not British, so perhaps she is. Either way, I went with it. Deal with it. Lily, please don't complain. If you're not British, I still care. Your question still meant a lot to me. You don't have to be British for it to matter. I promise. Getting a little emotional. Now look what you've done. You've made me cry. All right, that's enough. Okay, that's enough. All right, go back in. Talk about crying on command, but nothing about stopping. My favorite TV shows. Now, if you were in person, Lily, you would quickly regret asking me that question, because this podcast, you can pause and walk away. But if you're in person, well, you can also walk away, because, I'm not going to force you to listen, but you'd feel awkward if you did. It wouldn't be socially acceptable. I would talk your ear off, because I have 3 answers. I tried to rank them, and I think what I'm going to give you is what I think is an appropriate ranking, but they're just so close. They're just all right up there. Number 3, by just a little, The Dick Van Dyke Show. Y'all don't even know about The Dick Van Dyke Show. If you've not seen The Dick Van Dyke Show, go watch The Dick Van Dyke Show. He doesn't have this accent. I don't know where this came from. I need to stop explaining my accents. Dick Van Dyke is a comedic genius. I would love to play Dick Van Dyke in a biography movie, a biopic, a bio movie, a biographical movie. Either Dick Van Dyke or Danny Kaye or Jim Carrey. But Dick Van Dyke is the one I think I'm the closest to. Just the show is just so unbelievably hilarious. The characters are so endearing. The situations are so creative. I grew up watching black and white TV shows. That was the majority of what we watched growing up. And gotta love the Andy Griffith Show, Leave It to Beaver, I Love Lucy, and all of those wonderful shows. But Dick Van Dyke Show had just something different. It feels more full. It feels more rounded. The characters are just so lovable and alive. The characters are so alive. I think I'm gonna go rewatch it now. If you have never watched The Dick Van Dyke Show, I cannot recommend it more highly. Number 2, by just barely, WandaVision. The fact that the first episode of WandaVision is essentially filmed on both a replica set and in the style of The Dick Van Dyke Show isn't even why I love the show. That's just an added bonus, just a cherry on the frickin' top. WandaVision is actually the first Marvel show that I watched as it was coming out. And the beauty of the story, the emotion, and also the comedy of it. Once again, the characters are so alive. The mystery is so intriguing. If you don't know anything about it, it follows 2 major Marvel characters after the events of Endgame. But it begins, the first episodes of the show are in the format of decades of TV show sitcoms. It starts out with the Dick Van Dyke era. It moves to things like, it moves into Bewitched. It goes up to like the Brady Bunch and newer, Malcolm in the Middle. It moves through all of these show eras. But there's something going on behind the scenes, and that slowly unravels as you experience the story. Even before this show, Vision and Wanda Maximoff were my favorite Marvel characters. So this show just amped that up to the next level. And then there's the character of Agnes. Kathryn Hahn is stunning. I love Kathryn Hahn. She's hilarious. She looks fantastic. I would say fantastic for her age, but it's just regardless, she's fantastic. I won't give backstory of that character, just in case you haven't seen the show yet, and you will now go watch it, or else. But she's played by Kathryn Hahn, and Kathryn just brings the character to life. So lovable, so intriguing, and I'm very excited to see that character come back even more. That character is present in another show that also came out, but I'm excited to see where it develops from there. Don't even get me started about Marvel. No, though, because I have so much to say. I could talk about... Just talk to me, chat with me. I'm not going to make everybody who hasn't seen all of the Marvel shows sit through that conversation, but just know I have plenty to say. When don't I have plenty to say? I started a freaking podcast. Of course I have plenty to say. You're a better judge of that than I am, I guess. Finally, number 1, by just barely, The Good Place. I can't even get into it as much as I would love to, because you have to experience this show for yourself. It's 4 seasons of one amazing story from beginning to end. The characters, it's one of those shows where all of the characters remain for the whole story. They don't have to write people out or any of those things that some of the longer running shows have to do. That cast of characters and the storytelling and just the style, the whimsical, fun, and yet still meaningful style. I've watched it more times than I would like, actually. Fun fact about The Good Place, I wrote a culminating paper for one of my master's classes on The Good Place. I believe it was Theater and Culture, and I was studying a cultural artifact and its impact. And I went through The Good Place and found plenty of quotes for what I was exploring, which was each of the characters' development and meaning. I thought the quotes were great, put them all in there, go to do citations, and lo and behold, to do citations from a TV show, you need timestamps. I had found quotes from episodes across all 4 seasons of this show, but I searched for the quotes because I knew they were there. I searched online to get them accurate and put them in the paper. So what I had to do now is go back and watch all 4 seasons to find the specific timestamps for those quotes in a day. I hadn't procrastinated or anything. I wasn't that close to the deadline, but just I had other things to do. And so that day was my only day I had to sit and watch all 4 seasons of that show. Netflix, at least at the time, did not have a watch double speed option. So I just watched the show. And I love it, but I'd already seen it 3 times at that point. And if you know me, I don't rewatch anything unless I have to. Now, if you were to come up to me and say, you want to watch this show together, I would say yes, absolutely. So it hasn't scarred me for life or anything, but it was certainly an experience. I've recently been watching a TV show, Ghosts, both the US and UK versions, and it's given me a lot of sort of inspirational ideas in regards to character writing for the limited edition TV series that I've been writing. I'm really excited to get that going. Don't know how soon it'll be. I have about 3 seasons, the story concepts for 3 seasons brainstormed. I've only been writing the first one, because the first one is the season in which I play all the characters up until the last episode for a reason. Like, it's plot important. I wish I could explain more, but I just really want people to figure it out for themselves once it starts coming out, because I'm really proud of the story. It makes me giddy, and hopefully it could make some other people interested too. But that's for a bit after the songs I'm writing and the shows I'm in and the things and the masters I'm still working on. So we got a bit of time before that one kicks in. Speaking of shows I'm in, I'm going to be auditioning for some really fun roles this year. I'll be auditioning for Cinderella, not as Cinderella, probably. And then later we're going to have Footloose and Shrek. I actually want you guys to see if you can guess which characters I'm auditioning for in each of those shows. Cinderella, Footloose, and Shrek. See if you're going to figure it out in the comments, or if you're, no offense, listening on Apple Podcasts, you can just, email me or something if you feel like it. Just email me and say hi. Email me and say, how's your day? And I'll be like, great. And chat your ear off or something. I don't know. I like feedback. What can I tell you? That email for questions, comments, and I guess concerns if you have them, is once again readingbetweenthelionspodcast@gmail.com. I promise I tried to... the moment I made it, I regretted it. And I wanted to edit the name, but I couldn't. It was too late, and I didn't want to make another. So I'm living with it. Yeah, it'll be fine. One thing that's been a great challenge to me in these shows, and it's a good challenge, is the dancing. I did not start performing until later in life than most performers. I started performing at 14. Well, if you ask my parents, I was performing long before that. I just wrote, directed, and starred in all of my own shows with my 5 younger siblings. I was one heck of a director. I got those kids to do a lot of crazy things. We had a bunny once, and we created a circus around the bunny. We just kind of attached a hoop to its back, and it ran off behind the bed, and we were like, woo! We were proud of it, I don't know. But I started performing in shows that I didn't come up with when I was 14, and continued on till the present. But I never had access to even rudimentary dance lessons until I was 18. Now, at this point, I was already a year and a half into college. My professor was great. She was very, very talented. She knew what she was doing. But the class was it was an entry-level class for just 2 hours a week for a whole class of people. So, I mean, there wasn't a lot of individual coaching, but I took every bit of knowledge from that class that I could. I practiced and practiced to even be able to say that I could move on stage. So I worked on my jazz, my tap, and grossly neglected my ballet exercises to the point that I can muddle through. I can pick up simple choreography very well, make it look good. The more complicated you get, the longer I need to take with it. What I really need to do is get back into strict ballet. But once you're an adult, do you know how expensive it is to take a dance class? It's very expensive. And I'm not rolling in the wealth. I haven't even gone thrift shopping for clothes in a good while because I'm poor. But there's such is life. Who is not poor these days except for those who are rich? They're not poor. If you happen to be rich and would like to sponsor an up-and-coming performer, you know where to find me. But I'm not going to get discouraged. I'm going to keep on working, keep on pushing through, build my talents, build my abilities, and soon I'll be dancing through life, swaying and sweeping, and always being good enough to get cast, hopefully. And there you have it. Most of my life currently is many things in the works. Or as I like to say, currently dreaming, scheming, and screaming. With that, I shall bid you adieu for now. I believe for our next episode, we will once more have guest or guests for you to listen to. And you won't have to sit through another episode of just me talking until, I think, episode 8. If you're lucky, the interview will run for 3 episodes and you don't have to hear just me again until episode 9. But I suspect I may be announcing something, and I may bring someone who has been on the podcast before back again. Yeah, no, not Jack, the other one, the first one. Parting is such sweet, sweet sorrow. So I say goodbye till it be morrow. Goodbye. Goodbye.